That's right. Okay, landing's fine, that's easy, but then going into the mid game's a bit harder. And here's Matt with his sort of first year as a professional player, and lo and behold, the mid game's kind of hard to learn on this kind of this sort of stage.
And it's actually really interesting. You think of the first AD carry that Aphromoo had to support was Double Lift, and the first big-time AD carry in the LCS that Matt supported was Piglet.
Right.
And both those guys are incredibly strong laners, so that was naturally the focus to try and match that skill set. But now, even as Matt is transitioning towards Fabi, and Aphromoo has been playing with a bunch of different AD carries now, eventually Stixxay, they have been able to move more towards a roaming style and really become complete players. Aphromoo obviously is farther ahead of pretty much every other support in North America as far as his overall roaming abilities, but that's something Matt can aspire to.
We'll see if he can do that here. I actually asked them at the start of the game what their duo lane name would be, because of course Rush Hour, a very famous one for Double Lift and Aphromoo together. Aphromoo said that, yeah, I think The Matrix is best for him and Stixxay, but Matt said, we're probably Fab Life. Please not fat. was the other one he went for. So I like the fact that he brought it up, though, because now we can make fun of him with this one. But
Mabby wouldn't work.
Mabby would, yeah. For those who don't know, Matt's old screen name was Matt Life, which is why Fab Life is the way it works out there. But either way, we'll see what they can brand themselves as in the future. Final bans come through. Jax removed off the table. Darshan not allowed to play this for himself.
Yeah, this is really interesting as well. So Ryze has been changed substantially, and that was kind of who he's fallback pick. Also, I feel like CLG has a tremendously high win rate with Jax, so I think that ban is pretty smart for Team Liquid. But that, of course, does leave Vladimir up. And even though Vladimir has seen some nerfs and fallen out of being like first pick worthy for every single team, it's still a very strong pick for Huhi, who has had some issues on other champions. So it's good to get an early pick locked in for Huhi to be comfortable.
Right, and Seer off the table as well, which is something that CLG had still seen them draw some bans on, but many fans thought Huhi wasn't that great at the champion, and he's had some blunders before. But either way, yeah, several different mid laners off the table just via patch changes and people acclimating to the new things. Sivir Karma picked up, definitely a common one. Sivir, some people believe is the best champion in League of Legends right now.
Yeah, that's
period. And Liquid wanted it early.
Exactly. Immortals has said that, and we've seen many teams either banning it, first picking it, or picking it in the first rotation on the red side. So no surprise there. The fact that the Karma is picked as well kind of makes it so CLG can't match that team-wide move speed and will just double up for Team Liquid, which means if CLG wants to find ways to start fights, the Ashe actually makes a lot of sense because you need to completely stop someone since you can't necessarily run at a team with Sivir and Karma.
Absolutely the case. So we'll see what targets Ashe can find. Laning phase itself, actually, Ashe can find some really good auto attack damage on her, provided that Ashe is a decent support. Karma, of course, one of the better laners. Team fight-wise, I want to see what comes out here. Tahm Kench has been more popular, and Sivir herself can spell shield, so sometimes you can get away from Ashe arrows. Right now, though, they're leaving top lane pick for last year on Liquid's side. They've got Cassiopeia facing the Vladimir, and the Gragas jungle, which many believe to be another very, very strong champion.
Yep, especially in the LCK lately, Gragas has basically been picked or banned, and picked super early in almost every single game, so it falling this far in the draft, especially with Loco Doco and Phoenix, both heavily inspired by the Korean metagame, it makes sense that Dardoch would be high priority on Gragas. Not like he hasn't played it before, it's still been a high tier pick, just a little bit higher in some regions, and I like that choice for Team Liquid here.
Yeah, just interesting to see that Smithy would rather play the Elise for himself. Definitely one of his very best champions. He's very, very good at it. Did well with it back in the playoffs, actually, as well. Thinking back to Counterlogic Gaming's Spring Split victory, and there we go. The last few picks come through. It's a blind pick Gnar, as well as a Bard for Aphromoo. One of his very best as well, so tons of playmaking available to CLG.
Yeah, they pick a strong laning champion for Darshan. They, instead of going with a Sona, which is really strong on this patch, they do go for a Bard, I think, for more playmaking opportunities, since they're going to be up against the Sivir Karma and need some hard ways of initiating. And I like the way CLG is drafted. I actually like the way Team Liquid is drafted, and it's going to be a pretty exciting game.
It is going to be really exciting. Lorlo has been better and better in these last few weeks, finally allowing him to play more than just the tanks. His Aurelia has been very good. His Trundle's been good. We've seen him get a number of solo kills, just unassisted, entirely just 1v1 to the enemy top laner, and making his own advantages, which is something that you would not have expected from this player, judging by his Spring Split performances. Yeah,
and when Gnar has been meta in the past, a lot of people do like the Aurelia matchup against it, because when Gnar is in mini form, the Aurelia can win the trades, and Aurelia can also disengage fairly well when it's Mega Gnar. So if Lorlo gets an edge, maybe there's a chance he puts a hurtin' on Darshan.
And that could be a big threat. We heard about the fact that Dardoch is sort of able to play around any lane he wants to, and he's got some pretty good matchups for himself. Cassiopeia, ostensibly a counter pick into the Vladimir, and Aurelia we know to be one for the Gnar.
Yeah, funnily enough, when Dardoch has freedom, a lot of times he just ends up going top lane.
Yeah.
Like, especially for a lot of the success that Team Liquid has had this split, so much of it has kind of revolved around Lorelo or Phoenix.
And it's good to see that these sort of newer players have done so well for themselves. Of course, Phoenix has been great for a while here on Liquid, but now it's time to get ourselves into game one of the match, and you at home should get on Twitter and support your favorite LCS team. Tweet using hashtag CLGwin or hashtag TLWin to cheer your squad on a victory in our match of the week. Liquid hoping to keep the wins going, and CLG hoping to make this back half of the split look really good for them. They did beat Liquid the first time around. If they win this match, they own the head-to-head, which could mean a whole lot coming into the playoff structure.
Yeah, and this has by no means been an easy season for either of these teams, or easy split, rather. Team Liquid, really no one would have expected them to move on from Piglet, but they did so a couple weeks into the season, and Fabi's just never given up that starting spot. CLG as well, definitely went into a slump after having such success at MSI and are potentially just now coming out of it, but until they win this game and end the season on a high note, they're really not being considered to compete for that championship, even though they're two-time defending champs. So
absolutely,
both these teams with lots to prove.
Yeah, CLG, who I believe had a 4-5 opening match record in the LCS after playing each team once, and now sitting at 7-7. It doesn't really matter. Doesn't mean it. It's fine, Dardoch. We didn't see that. It's cool. Yeah, you know, it doesn't even matter. He's going to be fine. That was a sign of power. I don't even need to get over walls. Who knows?
Yeah, a lot of Gragas's end up starting with the body slam anyways.
Yeah.
In the jungle, so it's no problem for Team Liquid, and be interesting to see how these early lanes go on, because Team Liquid has done the sneak into the bottom brushes right here, and a lot of times you'll see a face check from the duo lane because they'll be trying to make sure the top laner isn't leeching experience in this brush. So basically Team Liquid is hoping that either Afamir or Styx a face check, then they can give an empowered Mantra Q from Matt and a bunch of burst from Fabi. Like, that's the hope for this play, because if it doesn't work out, they're just giving a pretty large experience advantage over to CLG. So let's see if Styx is patient enough. He has volley, so he could just volley the brush. That's the smart play.
Ooh, he does volley it nicely down. That does mean, though, they deny all 3 minions right there. Styx got XP on one of them, I think, only. So that play actually denied quite a bit from Counter Logic Gaming, even though he did sniff out that brush. Yeah,
so, I mean, even if the play is played properly by CLG, Team Liquid still doesn't lose out on that much, aside from the fact that they didn't get to start a game.
Yeah, and the fact that now Styx is at half HP because, of course, they had to tank all the damage when they were taking Krugs in the first place. I'm very curious to see who even hits level 2 first anymore because of all the changes. Okay, yeah, Styx does, sure, but look at that, Fabi and Matt, both above Aframu, so I really do think Liquid at least has a temporary advantage. But Matt not respecting the volley poke, losing a lot of HP.
Yeah, both AD carries have actually gone with Warlord's Bloodlust as well to try and sustain this lane.
Yeah, when you consider you're against Sivir Karma, I think it's a smart choice basically to switch. Fervor not unheard of on Ashe, but with this kind of a matchup. Ooh, and Xmithie looking for the cheeky play. He knows the bot lane's being pushed in, and he would beat Dardoch to the spot.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what's coming. They're going to go and look for this one. Oh, good flash by Matt, but now he can't. Dardoch for Cocoon. Fabi wants to block it really smart. And look at the goal to chase him in. Beautiful play all over the place. Phoenix solo killed Huhi in the meanwhile. So many good plays this bot lane as well.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what happened in the mid lane, but this play was tremendous by Xmithie to point-blank flash and get the Cocoon onto Matt while Fabi was doing his best to block for it. Just a very well-timed gank from CLG, but they didn't even get first blood because somehow Phoenix got a level 3 solo kill on a Huhi. We're going to get to see this now. So Hui's already a little bit low. I mean, Phoenix, it must just land a few spells. He lands a Q, and then flashes for the final E.
Wow.
That is just very classic Cassiopeia laning patterns, and Huhi doesn't respect it. So big misplay by Huhi there, and good job by Phoenix.
Stixxay's running out of HP. Fabi flashes in for looking for a little bit more to do. Now Afra's going to get away, but it's going to be Stixxay slowed up. Crossblade across. Dardoch is going to give away the kill to Fabi. Nicely done by Liquid getting that answered kill. Yeah,
and that was actually very intelligent by Team Liquid. They knew how many summoners were burned in the first gank. That is a classic Gragas strategy. If a lane doesn't have flash, you use your flash and get a kill. And because CLG was basically trying to shove up the waves so they'd have a better recall timing, they just get punished. They shouldn't have been out that far.
Definitely not. So nicely done by Liquid, and the actual gold game is now advantage to the red team, thanks to Phoenix's play and thanks to Dardoch's, I would say counter gank, but it's not the strict definition of it. But now Matt and Afro trading blows. Xmithie still wants to find this gank.
Basically
the same thing again.
Dardoch's return gank, but now, I mean, how many times are going to trade ganks here? They're pushed up without Summoner Spell.
No Summoners. This is going to be pretty bad for Fabi or Matt, whichever one they choose to go for. Probably the Karma. Nice juke on the Bard, but they can't get away from Cocoon. That's the kill over to Stixxay. Liquid not respecting the gank from Xmithie.
Bot lane's a battlefield, and both junglers are kind of trading ganks instead of directly counter ganking. So while they are well-timed ganks, the wards are not up for enough protection for the duo lanes to be pushed up that far, so they should actually just be conceding CS.
Yeah.
So they're not put in those positions to die, and it's just desync between the duo lane and the jungler from both teams, and it's been punished with many kills early game.
Yeah, definitely agree. So, pink wards beginning now for Liquid as the first recalls come through. There's actually 2 more in the inventories of the squad, so usually the red team get a lot of vision in the near future. Maybe they can track these ganks. Xmithie wants to make sure no one's on the right-hand side, but Dardoch's over to the left right now. And looks like they will not have anything successful happen. Oh, pink ward battle.
Yeah.
Matt, can he get the last hit? Nope.
Oh, wow.
So wins the war.
It's because they don't have vision on Elise, and Matt knows that his jungler is on the other side of the map.
And
whereas
in fact,
Afromoon knew his jungler was behind her. So
yeah.
that's why Afro was able to just bully out of that pink ward spot.
And he also knew Dardoch wasn't around via the earlier ward that Xmithie had put down. So there was no threat of a body slam from the brush as well. So the vision gained and the vision not had is enough to make that battle go CLG's way. 1 ward. See if it goes any better for now. Level 6 on both mid laners. Huhi trying his best to stay alive for this matchup, but going to lose a couple hundred health. He takes a turret shot, but he's all right with this one. Top lane has actually gone pretty close to equal. They've both recalled once, and they've saved their teleport on the way back, so they walked back to lane. But a 7 minion difference. Xmithie again playing the ward game. His trinket as well. He kept his yellow trinket to keep a 3rd ward in. Lorlo with just immaculate timing pink wards the brush and says, oh, well, there's Xmithie, and no, now there's a nice gank path for Dardoch to take if he wants to get in the top lane.
And both these junglers really are strong champions for early ganking, who have been able to convert quite a lot. Really interesting how Stixxay has been able to pick up both of those kills, and despite the back and forth and back again, Stixxay decently far ahead here.
Yeah.
Like the fact that both COG's duo lane had picked up pink wards on the way back to just try and make those return ganks much more difficult. And also the wave is in a spot right now where COG's pretty safe from ganks. Yeah.
So I gotta say, good stuff for Counter Logic Gaming. They should be up 10 to 12 minions right here at this point. Being up the extra kill means some nice advantages overall, and I think Stixxay still sitting on quite a bit of gold. 1,600 for him right now, so soon he'll be able to recall back and pick up more, going towards an Infinity Edge build, which is somewhat less common on Ashe. We see Essence Reaver a fair bit, so not a CBR-focused build on that champion. Xmithie now looking for the top lane. This one, though, all summoners up, but Darshan has ulti. He's going to jump in, doesn't find it yet. Lolo forces a flash away, cannot catch Cocoon. That's going to be Megadar into the wall. Waiting for a second sun to come up. Still plenty of damage to deal, and Lorlo slowed down. Where's the wall up? It's not up just yet. Mininar comes back in, and Lorlo does get away with his life. Trading flashes, trading ults.
Yeah, really just not enough damage for COG because they essentially landed all of their skills, and Lorlo was able to kind of just walk it off by getting enough healing from his ultimate. This will put Lorlo in a really bad spot because even with the gank, I don't think Darshan pushed the minion wave far enough, so that lane can actually get frozen by Darshan on the top side, and that makes the timing of the gank the most critical thing for Xmithie. They don't get the kill, but they still get a pretty big edge.
And look at the choice Lorlo makes. He could have chosen to teleport in to make sure he doesn't lose too much here. Instead, he does walk to keep the teleport up. That's the general play you should be making in pro play, but a choice he still made was to walk. And yeah, it means a partial freeze now. Hui's got to be careful because look at the layered CC into the ulti perfectly. Blade, that'll be the kill picked up for Liquid. Explosive cast guarantees they face towards Cassiopeia. A nice easy layering, well ganked by Dardoch.
Yeah, that was actually just a gorgeous play by Team Liquid. Phoenix had burned the pool of blood from Hui into Dardoch using the most secure gank possible with Body Slam Flash. And then as Hui was flying, they got the stun from Phoenix. Like, beautiful. Now they invade.
And Smithy really shouldn't be fighting for his own red buff. Jumps over the wall, but it's not going to be enough. Krug's help. Phoenix gets the kill. Certainly helps that Ignite was on from Matt, but that is another one now. Liquid 1,600 gold up. They'll leave the Mountain Drake up for now, but that invade, nicely played.
Yeah, and now it's a double buff Cassiopeia, who is 3-0 before 10 minutes. So watch this, how Hui is just trying his best to keep CS up, but Phoenix is zoning him so hard off the wave, and his pool of blood was down, and he kind of wandered towards the side where he didn't have many wards. So, like, either Hui goes farther and farther down in CS because Phoenix is crushing him in lane, or he opens himself up to the possibility of ganks. And because Dardoch is pretty much always in the right place here, Phoenix is getting really far ahead, and that's looking like it's going to be super hard for CLG to deal with.
I definitely agree. 23 minions as well as 3 kills. Good luck dealing with the Cassiopeia this fed as long as she has a front line. He had missed the flash. He had summoners up when Dardoch came in, and it wasn't a fog gank either. He just walked in from the side. And he did not react in time. A flash dodge would have allowed him to live, but it didn't happen. And we mentioned in the pregame, you did, Jat, that CLG often lives or dies by the kind of game he has, and this one is not pretty. The first pick, Vladimir, he's losing his lane thanks to Phoenix's counter pick, thanks to some great ganks from Dardoch, and Phoenix could hard carry this one.
Yeah, and one of Vladimir's big things is tankiness, and if he just dies, that's a nice stun though.
Fabi did not spell shield in time, puts it on, did block nothing. The flash chase and Stixxay gets the kill. Good play by CLG. Now they turn off the turret. The chase on the Matt. The slow is there, and Hui really trying to set up the team. Suddenly there's 4 down here, and Matt is left alone. That will be the kill picked up. Hui finally getting a kill on the board. A nice roam for him, but Liquid want to answer on the top side.
Yeah, that was everyone on CLG, so Darshan knows that a gank should be coming. He checks for it, but he does get hit.
So he is alone. Explosive cast. Oh, and it breaks his jump, so now Darshan can't get away in any real semblance of it, but he's going to pop the Gnar ulti to put Dardoch away. But there's the body slam. Once again, Runic Echoes triggers, red buff, auto attack, and the solo kill for Liquid's jungler. Looks like Dardoch is back in form.
Yeah, Runic Echoes Gragas is a tremendous duelist, so Darshan actually basically just loses a 1v1 there. He couldn't fight because he knew Lorla would follow through, so he had to run away. Overall, I think a big play for CLG in the bottom side, as we'll get to see this again. This was while a roam was happening, so notice Vladimir on the minimap with Elise already coming up, so they're planning to extend this dive from the get-go. Dardoch was caught on a ward, and they knew Cassiopeia was in the mid lane, so it wasn't easily counter-playable by Team Liquid. And because the start of the gank was so clean by CLG, chaining the Bard stun into the Ash Arrow, it allowed them to continue their chase. And even though Dardoch did match with the kill on the top side, it does keep CLG in this game.
There's so many nice little small plays as well that CLG did during that dive. So one was that Stixxay couldn't participate in the kill on Matt, but he hawk-shotted so he couldn't hide in the brush to make sure you never drop Fog of War. And then as soon as Smithy ganked, he drops the yellow trinket just right there in case Darshan has to match TP. In case Phoenix and Lula were right there, it's like, well, we have a TP target because obviously the minion wave is here and we don't have one. So those two things, if you're ever watching at home and you're playing jungle, you're playing Ashe, something like that, those are ways you can participate even if the kill is normally secured.
Dardoch is looking to take the blue buff here. He has a ward and he's very confident in his ability.
Ooh, and he gets the smite. Nicely done by Dardoch. Gets it away from Smithy.
Yep, clean steal right there by Dardoch. Definitely playing very well. So last week was an anomaly for Dardoch. He's back at it again. And Phoenix has really been huge this game. That's what a lot of this game I think will come down to, is how well Phoenix can team fight. But they're going to be going for Darshan right here.
Uh-oh, they're onto the Gnar. He does have Flash and his ultimate available. Can he outplay Dardoch? He does get away from the body slam at the very least, but Explosive Cast pulls him back in. Not far enough, though. And yes, Darshan does get away with an ulti and a Flash mid.
Yeah, I think a poor Explosive Cast there at the end by Dardoch.
Yeah.
Basically, the Flash had already been used, and that was all of his damaging abilities, but they catch Matt.
Bard ulti into Ash Arrow into the kill. Haframu secures the kill, but at this point, I think he kind of deserved one. The Moby Boots Bard getting into range for that one. Matt picked off 0 and 4 onto the Karma. Looks like Haframu definitely still the master in this one, and Matt the pupil.
This team composition for CLG is really all about the Ash Bard making things happen, and the Elise just adds to the CC chain. The rest of it just is hoping that they have enough team fight stuff for when they can force the big fight. So like, Hui just needs to be able to get his farm, because the rest of the team is what's going to be making plays. The core of the composition for CLG is working great right now, with 5 kills generated in the first 14 minutes. It's the rest of the team that just needs to survive.
We'll see if they can do that, because this game is very close right now. CLG able to pick up this mounted Drake, and that's nice for them, but Liquid should maybe be able to answer. No, but Darshan is coming, and they will force him away. That's going to be a reset on a 12,000 health Rift Herald, and they're going to get away. But
Yeah.
Liquid are up about 1,000 gold from all their other plays this game.
Really key that Darshan was able to at least delay that Rift Herald. But we watch this. It is a Bard ult. They know Matt's flash is down. They've already killed him 3 times before this. That's the 4th. They are really picking on Matt and Fabi this game.
That's been the target of the attention. I mean, Darshan's in a losing matchup, and he already got solo killed. There is only one gankable lane, realistically. If you're playing the odds, and CLG have made that work so far, 5 kills, all of them have been picked up by attacking Liquid's bottom lane here. With Matt in his first year professional play, and Fabi knew this split, CLG able to really leverage a lot of advantage out of this one.
Yeah, now Team Liquid's actually using their strongest lane in Phoenix to try and get a turret. Nice rotation, and they catch Afro.
Gonna come in, a nice knockback. They picked him up with Cassio just to make sure it still happens. 4 ultis picked up, or used rather, to make sure that Afro does go down, and Liquid now up 2,000 gold with the turret and the kill.
Yeah, a lapse in vision control. If CLG had known there were going to be 5 people there, no way is Aframu sitting at that turret. But TL sneak up on him, and not only does that get the mid lane turret, it also opens them an opportunity to take the Rift Herald.
And it's very heartening for Liquid fans to see that, you know, their bot lane, of course, not doing very well to start at the game, but still part of these important plays. They're part of these rotations and turret kills and champion kills. And so the team I like to talk about most for this is a squad like Immortals, where even if they're down in kills, they still feel like they're the team that's winning because they're always playing with pressure. And Liquid doing some of that, using their bot lane, that even though they're losing, they're being aggressive and finding plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy for Team Liquid has been amazing this game. 23 CS up on Huhi, 4 kills, the very first one solo at level 3. Like, late game Cassiopeia is already hard to deal with, let alone when Cassio has a great early game. So, like, even though COD's going around and making all these plays, at a core level, unless they're able to catch Phoenix in these late game team fights, like, Phoenix will carry.
Yes.
And I still think that's why Team Liquid is winning this game.
They might still do so. Of course, it is a best of 3, so there might be more coming in this one, but right now, CLG have made the move to the top side. That turret down to about 2/3, but Liquid have answered in time. And now we've got the duo lanes on that side of the map. There's no dragons to take for quite some time. Rift Herald has already been taken away. And we'll see if the top lane turret can go down. The funny thing about this is CLG is the only team that can actually get a reasonable turret kill here, but Liquid, if they manage to make a gank, there's no turret for CLG to run back to. So there's kind of different advantages available in that lane with how the turrets are mismatched.
Yeah, and you can even see how the map has kind of just been lost for COD with those 2 lanes, and it's where Dardoch has put most of his focus. Not really on the bottom side, but instead right here.
Up on the top side, looking for Smithy, hits him up, and actually forces the flash out of CLG's jungler, but Stixay actually able to last hit the Gromp despite well, with the Smithy's smite, I suppose. He got it low, and then Ashe made it happen. There's the flash body slam, and it's going to be a pickup onto Stixay. Goodbye to the Ashe. Dardoch gets it. A bit of greed from the CLG AD carry, and Liquid up 2 kills.
And I love the barrel that Dardoch put down at the very end of that gank that Stixay would have been forced to run over. He wouldn't have been even able to flash over it, and Dardoch still would have been able to pick up the kill because of how much lead he put onto the barrel. So Stixay doesn't even bother using the summoner spell. Just a beautiful pick by Team Liquid once again.
You can see part of the reason that Liquid wanted to pick up this champion. Dardoch really everywhere on the map. Highest kill participation on his team, 6 out of 7, including a solo kill, by the way, against CLG's top laner. And yeah, as you mentioned it, Dardoch back in form, and this is definitely a scary player to be against. Now CLG looking for a match onto Lorlo, forcing the flash over. That means Bardo's going to hit into Darshan, landing the Nard. They've got to get this one. CC layering, exhaust is on. He's running out of health, but now Matt has rejoined the fray, and it's CLG who are forced to retreat. Another slow comes in, but Dardoch is in. Half move flash to dodge away, but that's actually more lost by CLG than Liquid.
Yeah, they used both summoners on Aframu and the flash from Darshan. Lorlo did flash. I'd say Matt flashed as well, so very close as far as what was invested in. Basically, Darshan just didn't have the burst. Another playmaking opportunity, an attempt by CLG, but they're unable to convert here. Whereas I feel like Team Liquid has had a higher conversion on their attempts.
Definitely agree. The bot lane ones all look good for CLG for a while, but this was definitely a much more difficult one. A behind top laner plus a support trying to kill a fairly tanky Aurelia who's level 12 right now. And didn't quite have what they needed. So Lorlo now sent on split push duty. Huhi was here recently, then left to not get attacked. This turret, though, very low, as CLG might continue to glean some kind of map control from where they place their members. Looking at individual gold leads, you've got a 1100 lead for Stixxay, so you can kind of still use that Ashe as a battering ram, make them respect arrows, put the damage output in, and that's the big leverage tool that CLG has.
Yeah, nearly 1,800 gold for Phoenix over Huhi, though.
Yeah, and 13 for Lorlo. So there really are more winning lanes for Liquid than CLG.
And it speaks to what Aphromoo spoke about before the game when he was talking about Dardoch, how they really have to watch out for this guy because he's so versatile now and can kind of go wherever he wants. He's completely stayed away from Aphromoo, which has really been CLG's strongest point, and they punished all of the weaknesses on CLG as far as their solo lanes this game. It started off well, obviously, with Phoenix getting a solo kill, but since then, Dardoch has just not allowed any of those lanes to come back in any way.
It will at least be a trade of turrets, though. Liquid have managed to keep their bottom lane useful, despite their gold deficit. Managed to knock down bottom outer. They'll also join in for the Cloud Drake pickup, which will trade these back and forth. I have not... This is my first game getting to cast 6.14 Cloud Drake.
Yeah, I think this is really huge. The previous Cloud Drake was 15 out of combat move speed. Now it is 25 out of combat move speed. And this is particularly important against CLG because the breakpoints on being able to avoid a Bard ultimate are really slim. And when you have 25 extra out of combat movement speed, if you're paying more attention, unless you're trapped up against a wall, you can avoid the Bard ultimate. So CLG's initiation opportunities are, I think, actually fairly limited by Team Liquid having this Cloud Drake. And then you add to the fact that they already have move speed advantages with Karma and Sivir. It's going to make initiating a lot easier for Team Liquid and a lot harder for CLG.
Definitely agree. So watch out for this one. Dardoch might be able to get into range for things. Maybe someone sides such a Cocoon or an Ashe Arrow. And a difficult road here. CLG, though, does have Mountain Drake, and that means if they ever get into some kind of a situation like this where they're getting chip damage in a turret, it's much more. Maybe they can keep whittling that down. Red buff on Stixxay helping on top of that. But 3,000 gold still puts Liquid ahead. Not insurmountable, but certainly not meaningless. He's slowed down by a nice barrel from Dardoch, and Xmithie plus Stixxay want to find the engage. He does land it onto Dardoch, who body slams away, tanky enough on the Gragas. And there's the segment pool out of Huhi. Keep in mind, Phoenix also had Cleanse up, so really not that many great targets.
Yeah, Mercury Treads by Dardoch for just such an occasion. It's one of the oldest counters in the book to an Ashe Arrow is Mercury Treads. Nowadays with CC, people are just like, well, you need a QSS or you need Cleanse. But if you're a tank, Mercury Tread's actually still really good.
Yes.
And Dardoch recognizes that, able to basically invalidate the Ashe Arrow there.
Right, and that was CLG's hope for a playmate, right? They'd set the one up, they hid behind the wall, they made sure there were no wards there, they got ready, and nothing of value was gained at all. And in fact, it was Liquid who shoved in mid lane, shoved in top lane. Once again, CLG having to play reactive as Liquid off the back of Phoenix winning his lane hard, and Dardoch making some really nice ganks, and rotating the bot lane around, have managed to take control of this mid game. And we'll see what Liquid's next move is, because CLG just have not found a lot of advances, really.
Yeah, and CLG's down 3 of their outer turrets, so it's kind of difficult for them to have the mobility on the map in order to make plays. Also, they have to be incredibly careful getting close to Cassiopeia, just because of how much damage Phoenix can do, especially if they're running at him. So I think CLG is just trying to stall this out as much as possible, keep as much wave pressure as possible, and hope the Team Liquid overcommits in some place. While Huhi gets more and more items, like with the Proto Belt being completed, Spirit Visage being completed, Huhi's, becoming Vladimir, whereas previously he was just getting bullied by Cassiopeia and really was a non-factor. But that's not great for Stixxay.
Wow, Stixxay actually flashed away from that one without a lot of follow-up actually really in range. I don't know if Explosive Cast would have killed him, but Stixxay says better safe than sorry. Pop Quicksilver Sash as well to ensure that he was going to be okay. But that is Stixxay spending his entirety of his one-on-one gold lead on a defensive item to not get picked off by how scary Dardoch is.
Yeah.
Less damage from him. Cocoon's going to land at a Phoenix. He doesn't care about that too much. Another stun from Aphromoo. But Dardoch blocks the volley, and Liquid walk away pretty clean.
Yeah, pretty solid disengage from Aphromoo so far.
Gets it.
Whoa, Huhi's right up in the face of TL. That's a little dangerous.
Half health, gets away from the body slam. But look at Lorlo smashing Darshan on the 1-on-1. He wants to dive this and realizes, no, I cannot. Just kidding. He's still got aggro. Lorlo, okay. He's fine. He's going to regen back up. Shouldn't be much of a punish left for Darshan. They both
Afro is actually going for a solo kill? Or thinking about it?
There's no way he kills Lorlo with health.
He was roaming for it, though. Basically, he's just allowing Darshan's safety of farming under his turret without having to back. That CS lead has crept up and up. We did mention that Aurelia in the past had been picked against Gnar, and with the heavy damage build Lorlo has gone, as Darshan had also gone with a relatively offensive build with the Frozen Mallet, it's given Lorlo a lot of kill threat, and I feel like that's led to the CS advantage on top of the ganks that Dardoch has provided.
Yep, and that's been really nice for him. So Lorlo continuing to control that side of the matchup. Darshan actually going towards the Madness as well. You saw him pick up a Spectre's Cowl a while ago because he's afraid of what Phoenix can do in team fights, but it made it even harder to win his one-on-one. The Frozen Mallet, he's trying to keep Aurelia at arm's distance, and that hasn't worked out really either. See as it pushes forward, Huhi in a battle with Phoenix. Look at that, Huhi just kind of always forced to be afraid of the matchup.
Yeah, it actually feels like Huhi's CS pattern now is to charge up an E, get it off, and then pool of blood to run away.
Yeah.
He finishes the last minion. So that has been punished once by Dardoch since he's using his
escape
pool
is down
so early, but it's the risks he has to take to keep this CS close.
And it is not miserable. It's only 19 down. Not the worst in the world. Smithy, they're going to get caught out. Goes a bit late on the explosive cast, but now here comes a dive on towards Phoenix as well as on the mat. This Karma low on health. Dardoch re-engages, damage on Huhi, stays alive. Here comes Mega Gnar, and he's picked off Dardoch, but Lorlo is in as well. Both top laners picking up kills for themselves. Another comes across. It's 2 for 2 so far. Sticks stay low, and Lorlo gets him picked off. A double for the top laner. CLG running out of people. That is an ace for Liquid. Nicely played. Quadra kill for Liquid's Aurelia.
We had just talked about how Lorlo was building damage, and there are just so many threats on Team Liquid that since, even though Darshan had a beautiful Gnar ultimate stunning Dardoch and Fabi, those weren't the real threats. It's the solo laners for Team Liquid. Watch this one start one more time. Team Liquid funnel in. COG's been waiting for an opportunity to catch a fight, and they do get an ult on a Phoenix, so I think they can go. Phoenix has cleanse. He's able to disengage without having kill threat on him, and then Darshan sees a Gnar ult, gets the two-man stun. They burst down Fabi, but by the way, Cassiopeia and Aurelia are still there. Phoenix gets enough damage on his stick save that Lorlo can finish him through an exhaust. Bard can't run away, and Team Liquid just mop up the fight with their solo lane power, and that will break the game open for Team Liquid.
Yeah, good job by Liquid, pulling enough attention that Lorlo had all the time he needed to get the damage output in, and looks now quite good for this Liquid squad with a 4-0 Aurelia. And yeah, they got themselves that second Cloud Drake during the replay, so they are swift getting around the map now.
Yeah, essentially, if this was last patch, they would now be faster than if they had triple Cloud Drake.
Yeah.
Because they now have plus 50 out of combat movement
Arrow's
speed.
gonna land though.
No cleanse.
Cleanse is down, so they've got the damage up what they need. That might be the beginning of the comeback CLG desperately are looking for. Mid lane turret should be going down. Mountain Drake helps the siege happen. Huhi gonna zone them out. Now, how much more can CLG get? Because they're still down 5,000 gold, but they're also out of minions, so not much more to gain just yet. 35 seconds on Cassiopeia means barely one wave left.
Yeah, even though this hasn't been the best split for CLG, they are so opportunistic, and they almost always know what they can do to come back in the game. And they're losing team fights, they're down 7,000 gold, but they remember Phoenix used cleanse in the last team fight. So they immediately go for him. They know it's a decently long death timer, and now with the Mountain Drake, they know another point of power. They can at least threaten the Baron, even if they don't start it, and they're looking for another pick.
Trying to bait it. Explosion, not going to do much of anything. They tried to get over the wall, couldn't find the bind because Dardoch hit the sweeper, and that meant Seal did not know exactly where that Gragas was. Dardoch plays it right, and nothing gained for CLG. They tried to make the bait. Liquid reacted well. Now, Liquid, it's their turn to take over control of this Baron pit. Pink ward in the front so that CLG can't drop wards over the wall. And they're good to go.
Yeah, and it was a nice play by CLG, but it still leaves them 5,000 gold down.
Look at this, Liquid trying to make the same play. They're going to find the body slam, they're going to find the damage on Smithy, but can they really kill him off? He's going to flash to get away. Dardoch's body slam is back up, though, doing plenty of damage. Ulti to come across from Bard, the arrow's in, but Fabi gets himself the kill just barely. getting into range for the crossblade, and that is another one for Liquid now. 13-8 the scoreboard. With no CLG jungle, that means their eyes are on Baron.
Yeah, and Phoenix can burn down Baron incredibly quickly, even without the Mountain Drake. It's mainly a bait for more fights, though. Team Liquid is looking for kills. They could still speed people up with Karma. Lorlo is pressuring the bottom side. They're going to probably wait for Darshan to show, and then maybe look to start Baron. Looks like CLG actually just giving it up.
At least not trying just yet. They're walking around this area. Hawk
This guy's so
down
fast.
for a bit.
Here's
a lot
the
of
TP.
damage out of Cassiopeia.
They have to peel off.
Phoenix. Here comes the attempted play. They're staying on it. There's no smite for CLG. They want to pick that one off first, and that's going to be a pickup easily for Counterlogic. Giving him out. Darshan is isolated as he completed the teleport before his team told him to back off. He pops the ult. He pops the jump over the wall, flashing as well. Darshan losing all summoners and his ultimate for no gain.
Yeah, basically Team Liquid knew that the smite was down from CLG, and they actually did not have to peel off the Baron because CLG was unable to make an initiation with Afro at low health and Darshan teleporting in behind with the mini-Gnar. So the timing works out just right for Team Liquid, and they make an aggressive yet successful call to pick up Baron.
Nicely done. Liquid pushing the lead up to 8,000 now with this double Cloud Drake, and the final elemental Drake of the game will be Mountain, number 2. Liquid could use that to kill the base even faster if they needed.
Yeah, looking very, very strong. They also have the 70% crit onto Fabi Sivir, so the team fight has arrived for their bottom lane, even though they put very little focus on it throughout the match. Matt absorbed a lot of COD's early ganks while the solo lanes were getting strong, and this has been, generally speaking, how Team Liquid has won since switching in Fabi for Piglet. It's been Phoenix and Lorlo getting the majority of the attention from Dardoch. It's been Fabi and Matt surviving and then being utility force in the team fights. And it's working again for CLG here. Even if it seems a little bit predictable, it can be very effective.
We'll see if Liquid can then close out
Oh,
the game with
Dardoch.
this. Dardoch going to face check into a lot of CC. They layer it pretty darn well, and they pick him off.
Another pick for CLG, but does Team Liquid make the call to fight anyway?
The flash chase onto this one. Phoenix still holds on the ultimate. Aphromoo low on health, but Fabi is untouched. Damage on a Phoenix with the Vladimir ult helping a little bit. Darshan on the chase, can't land the stun. And it's going to be the stun almost landing. Not quite enough though. Lorlo's now into the back line. He's going to pick off Aphromoo. It's on towards Stixie. There is almost no chance for the CLG bot lane. Phoenix gets himself a couple of kills. X50 now running away. Spiderling's actually betraying the Spider Queen herself as Lorlo is in range now for the slow. That'll be an easy pickup. A triple kill. Another big cleanup for Lorlo. And Liquid have all the time in the world to close this one out.
Wow, Phoenix legitimately 1v2'd both CLG solo laners as they tried to corner him, but wow, that is just how far ahead Phoenix is and what a high level he is playing on Cassiopeia this game. I appreciate the effort by CLG to go hide and make a play. They knew they had to do something special, but the rest of Team Liquid is just so strong, and they might look to end here.
They could do it. Double inhibitor's going to be down. 8 seconds on the respawns, though. If they do kill the next, it'll be in the face of CLG.
Yep.
So they choose not to. They're going to back off with their last remnants of Baron buff on for 45 more seconds. Empowered recalls get them out, but 14,000 up. Liquid are almost assured this win.
Yeah, Dardoch already used his sweeper. It wears off right before it would tip him off. Team Liquid know that they can still win a 4v5. Lorlo's not even here, so it's actually 3 people who start this fight. And who he flashes in, Gnar comes up from the bottom. I want to focus on the 1v2 here with Phoenix. Darshan even is about to go Mega, but he's just like, you know what? Phoenix basically just killed me.
Yeah.
Huhi then is trapped in the Rylai's. Phoenix just played that so amazingly well on the bottom side, while the top side of the team still had Aurelia, a 70% crit Sivir, and a Karma that just was able to win that fight up there. So, you know, Dardoch cheerleading that fight after he got caught. It's like, you know what? You guys can take him. You should fight. 4v5. Go for it.
Yeah.
And it was the right call.
They didn't even lose anyone else, I believe, on that fight. They just actually won a 4v5 straight up.
Yeah.
Yes, CLG used some ults for it, but still, very nice fight by Liquid. And now they look to hammer this one home. Mountain Drake picked up, means they're going to kill the base even faster. And now the push for the base itself. 6A playing wave clear. Darshan just unfortunately losing lane matchup down almost a full 100 CS now before the end of this game.
Yeah, Lorlo looking huge. Dardoch blind picked the Gnar into him. Or sorry, Darshan blind picked the Gnar into
I get you.
Lorlo's Aurelia. now they're just going to try and siege up. They already have 2 inhibitors down, so it's basically CLG needing to do an
to
all-out initiation, but like unless they catch Phoenix and Phoenix misses his cleanse, like I feel like Team Liquid wins this fight.
But they've got to fight them with the turret there, with a flank. But look at this. Lorlo walking up to make sure he can head off Huhi.
Lorlo could just fight Huhi if he wanted.
Probably can. Chooses not to just yet. Nope, he's going to go in. Huhi losing health. And they keep doing the little dance.
Stixxay is actually trying to clear supers away from the Nexus turrets right now, so CLG forced in a lot of different directions here. The one thing that's keeping this is no Baron buff, but that's the attempt. It misses.
Fell shield by Fabi, gets away from the Bard ulti. Tempered Fate not going to mean much. Tempering CLG's expectations, certainly. As they're looking bad in this one. Lorlo push half, and he's onto the Nexus turrets, and Liquid just pulling CLG around the map very elegantly. It really looks like there's no risk on Liquid at all. 18-9 in kills. Into the mid lane they go once again. Lorlo threatening on the Darshan. Gets a shield, walks away. Arrow's going to miss as well. And here comes the body slam in for a little bit of CC, but CLG cutting away. However, this Elise is running out of health rapidly. That's 50 forced to flash. Body slam in once again. They're going to pick up some kills. Lorlo is legendary. 8-0-3. Goes back into the Stixxay. Gets a heal for Matt. Gets the kill picked up. A double for him. And now CLG are out of tools to defend their base with 21-9 in kills. On to the Nexus they go. That's going to be game 1 of the series for certain. Liquid keeping control of 3rd place with a dismantling of Counter Logic Gaming.
Yeah, it's safe to say that Lorlo and Phoenix had pretty good games in that